The worries over fuel queues across some of the filling stations in the country is concerning, and the attendant effect on the economy. Tonight we dissect the problems of our petroleum sector. And the FCT Minister Yensam Wike responds to the issues of those who plan to edge him out of the PDP. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Wakimalo here in Abuja. So much to unpack tonight on the program, so sit tight everyone and let's get started. Let me begin by letting you know some of what the FCT Minister, the former Governor of Rivers State, Yensam Wike, has been talking about, particularly what concerns our politics. Is, of course, he insists that he's still a member of the PDP. The minister today speaking and reacting to the crisis rocking the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and his local chapter in Rivers State with the latest visit by some members of the Board of Trustees of the PDP who visited the Governor, Semenlayi Fubara. Mr. Wike at a media party today and says he will fight his way in the party despite all the ongoings.
There is nothing Chief Edwin Clark or the other statesman have not said, but I said, I will never, I will not reply to anything. If there's anybody who has contributed to the growth of PDP, as far as today, is me. So when I read it, they should investigate me. Investment for what? I don't want to wait for any fight. I will stay there. I will fight it out.
In the PDP?
Yes. Who am I going to run for? The vampires?
All right, that's the Minister of the FCT, Yensam Wike. Tonight, there seems to be some kind of a new energy across the different states of the Federation, and we can see some governors taking some strides in ensuring they are directly reaching out to the Nigerian people. And there are issues relating to the hardship, hunger, and scarcity of food. Well, scarcity of fuel is one of the other issues. Apart from all of these scarcities, and the problem in the land is also the purchasing power of the average citizen. Tonight, one of the governors is going to be speaking with me. We're giving out fertilizers help with reaching out with seedlings and helping in the wet season farming and harvest. Will it really help? How do we get out of this quagmire? Where do we head from here? The local government autonomy. What is the state doing? What are the local government authorities doing? We'll be hearing from a governor tonight on the program. Plus also we'll be speaking with the president of the Pengasan. They are saying that they will help Nigeria out of these petroleum mess that we have found ourselves. It's going to be some engagement that you cannot miss. Stick around with me. Let's check out first and foremost your political roundup stories.
The People's Democratic Party has inaugurated 2 committees to reconcile aggrieved party members as well as discipline erring members whose actions have caused the party some misfortune. The acting national chairman, Mr. Umar Damagun, told members of the committees at the PDP headquarters in Abuja to work hard to rejuvenate the party. The 26-member disciplinary committee is headed by Mr. Tom Ikimi, while the former governor of Osun State, Mr. Olagunsoye Unilola, heads the reconciliatory committee. The PDP acting national chairman also criticizes those who constantly seek the downfall of the party. The national chairman of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, Edozie Njoko, has faulted the Anambra State House of Assembly for embarking on the amendment of the law establishing the State Independent Electoral Commission. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, the APGA national chairman describes the action of the lawmakers as uncanny and with the sole intent to deny the party her right to field legitimate candidates in the forthcoming local government elections in the state. The Taraba state government says it is ready to implement the 70,000 naira new minimum wage. The state commissioner for information, Zainab Usman, disclosed this when she represented the governor, Agbuke First, during an interactive session with newsmen in Jalingo, the state capital. Mrs. Usman also announced the approval of the governor for the renovation of the state secretariat.
His Excellency said whatever the federal government has approved, he is going to implement. He repeated same during the media chat.
A member of the House of Representatives representing Birnin Kebbi, Bunza, Kalgo Federal Constituency, Mr. Ibrahim Bello, has expressed confidence that the recent wave of defections will not weaken the party. In an interview with newsmen in Birnin Kebbi, Bello stated that the party remains strong in the state. Regarding the current economic hardship faced by Nigerians, Bello attributed it to federal government policies, just as he notes that lawmakers are working to mitigate the effects through the distribution of food palliatives.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us on the program. So, if you are yet to get fuel, I'm hearing that maybe some filling stations started selling and queues are reducing. I don't know what part of the country you are right now, but the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Association of Nigeria, Pengassan, says it will not relent until victory is achieved in the fight against crude oil theft in the country. The president of the association, Comrade Festus Osifo, today in Abuja at the 2024 Pengassan Energy and Labor Summit, says that they will work to ensure that the fight this man is hard. Of course, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Mr. Anakin Kobri, also spoke at the event. I'll allow you to listen to him later on. Also, we'll be speaking to the Pengassan president on the program. But before we get into that conversation, we will also get to speak with one of the governors in the country today, and the governor of Zamfara State, who tonight we've seen quite a lot of activities in that state, from agricultural activities to issues relating to empowerment. But how much of that are the people of the state hoping that will change their lives around? I've been joined by the Executive Governor of Zamfara State, Governor Lawal, who joins us live from Gusau, the capital of Zamfara State. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for joining us tonight on the program. Thank you. It's good to see you, Governor Lawal, again. And I see that there seems to be some effort being taken, and looks to me like they're deliberate effort, because I heard you speak about target of the harvest and the wet season farming, which are some of the things that a lot of people think that if we increase the cultivation, we might see a better harvest in the coming months. But how much of that do you think? You give out fertilizers, and we hear a lot of people taking those fertilizers, taking those seedlings and reselling or selling them. What is the confidence that you have about the process which you just started?
Well, thank you very much, Shayun. Like you rightly said, today, you saw that we distributed, that was yesterday, sorry. We distributed fertilizer across the state, but we did the flag up in the capital city of Gusau. And this is supposed to go around all the farmers across the 40 local governments up to the ward level. As you rightly know, Zamfara is an agrarian economy. We basically feed this nation. In the past. Yes, we're having challenge of security now, but that doesn't mean we should just sit down and not do anything. And for me, being an agrarian economy or an agrarian state, there's a need to help these farmers. And part of which was what we did yesterday by distributing these fertilizers across the 40 local government. And what we did was to set up a committee which includes the Honorable Commissioner of Agriculture, the sole administrators, police, DSS, civil defense, traditional rulers, to make sure this fertilizer goes round to the needy farmers. And I have absolute confidence that this will be done. This is not the first time we did this. During the dry season, we equally get fertilizer free as well as other farming implements, which include the seedlings, insecticides, modern technology that will increase productivity. And this is ongoing. And I believe it's a step forward to assist the needy farmers. And this will go a long way, Governor, in boosting production.
Yeah, what is your target?
Yeah.
What kind of produce are you looking at? What is the quantum of production that you're looking at?
Well, let me say this. We are looking on how do we enhance productivity. That is number one. Number two, by making sure you give incentives in agriculture or farming, it will help the farmers in terms of the yield. In a situation where they normally produce very minimal. What we're trying to do right now is to optimize that production. And that will go a long way in helping the farmers. And we're on the right track.
Yeah, Governor, you've not told me what is Zamfara State known for? In the wake of the banditry and some of the security problems that we've seen in the state, it has lowered and has badly decimated the ability of the state to produce agricultural products as much as it could. It has potential of doing. And those who will say in the past, most of the production of agriculture has not really come into a commercial volume that the state can be so proud of. So what is your target in terms of
Sharon,
making food available?
Let me make a categorical statement. Here. Zamfara State is an agrarian economy. Prior to all these insecurity challenges, Zamfara used to feed the entire Southwest in terms of food production. Not just food production also, but the cash crop, including cotton and the rest of it. And that is what we are known for. However, with the challenges in insecurity, it has slowed down the process. And what we're trying to do right now is we're trying to defy those challenges by making sure we encourage the farmers to go back to their farmlands and produce more. We're also handling the security situation in the state to make sure they have the ability to farm in their farmland. And that is exactly what we're doing. And I believe by doing this, it will increase production of these agricultural products, or rather the productivity will be much, much higher than even where we used to do that before. Remember, in those days, we're using the traditional method of farming, but now with modernity, we're bringing new tools that will increase productivity in agriculture. And if we sustain this, I believe it's the right way, and I believe it will help the farmers a long way, and the yield will be much, much higher than it used to be in the past. And we're trying to change the narrative now from a state where it's facing so much insecurity issues to a state where also productivity will be the way forward. And that is why we're doing all this, and that is why we're distributing these fertilizers and other farming implements so that we can help the needy farmers. And that is what's ongoing, like you saw yesterday.
Yeah, so I'd like to put you to task, Governor Lawal, and perhaps also your analytical mind as a banker. I know that before you can give credit facility to your customer when you were in the bank, you would have gotten a commitment on what they wanted to use the facility for, how they hope to return to get back the money, the credit back into the bank. And I'm wondering, Zamfara State, under your leadership, you are not looking to be jack of all trade. Zamfara State cannot produce all food produce that is available. You must have a target. What is your target? Or you just wanted farmers in Zamfara State to be able to feed themselves? Is that the agenda that you have? Or you're not planning to get the whole nation to feel the effect of the agricultural strides that you are making?
Sharing is a combination of two factors. number one, the ability of the farmers to produce food for sustenance. That is one. Two, there are other group of farmers that are beyond just for sustenance. They are also doing that for commercial purposes. What we're doing right now, the palliative we are giving is for the small farmers in order for them to be able to produce what they can eat in the moment. However, the large-scale farmers also, we have a different approach in terms of how to enhance or how to encourage them to grow beyond just sustenance, but it's also for commercial purposes. For example, if you look at, we scale them in different groups. The smaller ones are the ones just for subsistence, while the other side is the ones for commercial activities. So the two goes hand in hand. And that is exactly what we're doing. And I believe by doing that, with all these crises we're facing in the country, there's shortage of food here and there, it will reduce that aspect.
Okay,
that's
interesting.
What we're doing.
So you,
like
what produce would you like
from
Zamfara State? I know that a lot of people know Zamfara State to be a mining center of the nation, although most of those mining are done illegally, and Zamfara State is not benefiting anything from it. But in terms of agricultural produce, what produce will you actually want Zamfara State to be noted for in all of these initiatives?
It is a combination of both maize, sorghum, rice, cotton, beans, and so on and so forth. Basically, we grow everything in Zamfara State. There is nothing that we don't grow in Zamfara State. So like I said, we're doing this in two stages. One is for the for food production, which is just for their own consumption. And then the other one is for the commercial quantity. And the two goes hand in hand.
Okay, so talk to us about the security situation. It does look like the bad stories that often come from Zamfara State. In fact, one holds its breath every day that breaks, hoping that one bandit attack or the other will come from Zamfara State. But thank God, it does look like some of those bad news had really gone down. Talk to us about what has happened in the recent past and how you're hoping to help the farmers go back to farm, those of them who have fled their farmlands over the last few years.
What we're trying to do right now is try to change the narrative. Like you rightly pointed out, whenever you heard about Zamfara, it's about insecurity or negative things about education, poverty, and so on and so forth. But what we're trying to do right now is change that negative perception to a positive one. Now, the issue of insecurity is something that we inherited for over a decade. And it is not something that we say, yes, we're going to solve that problem overnight. However, we're making conscious effort to make sure we face these security challenges head on. And it's part of the reason why last year we set up the Community Protection Guard, which are going to work, or rather they are working hand in hand with the conventional security in terms of combating this banditry and other criminal activities that is taking place in the state. And I will say that it has gone down drastically. Quite a number of people now are able to go to their farm. And what we're doing right now in conjunction with the CPG as well as other conventional security is to make sure people are able to harvest their farm inputs, or rather, so that at least it will douse down a lot of tension in terms of, the absolute poverty that the state is facing, the lack of food, and so on and so forth. And like you said also, it's a state that's agrarian. It's also a state that has a lot of potential. In fact, I'll confidently say that in terms of solid minerals, Zamfara State has the highest mineral deposit in the country. And what we're doing right now is putting all the necessary structures in place in terms of getting investors who will invest in the mining sector. And that will also go a long way in terms of elevating some of the major challenges we're facing in the state in terms of infrastructure, in the area of education, in the area of health sector, and so on and so forth. Like yesterday, you saw what we did in Karanamoda, one of the hospitals that was upgraded to make sure healthcare is given the necessary attention. And we're equally doing that in the area of education. Right now, we have over 350 schools across the state that we are renovating, rebuilding, and we're also building capacity. So with all these changes taking place, it has considerably bring down the insecurity issue. And we're changing the narrative in Zamfara State. We have the least in terms of infrastructure, and we're doing so much now to make sure, we have adequate roads, we have water supply, and so many other things. So it's an ongoing process. We're just barely 1 year in office, but I'm telling you, the narratives are changing for the better. And I'm hoping that this will continue so that people enjoy the dividend of democracy in Zamfara State as well as Nigeria at large.
Governor Lawal, would you nod in the positive that security in the state has greatly improved? And how do you also reckon, because there are also those controversies around whether or not you appointed Adeja as a technical advisor in your office. Someone like Sheikh and Zamfari had said, look, some of the initiative of the modalities in tackling banditry in Zamfara State may not work, as he believes that reconciliation and you talking to these bandits will go a long way in resolving those issues. He feared that if that is not done, sending only soldiers to chase out the bandits may not work, that the farmers may not be able to return to farm. How are you taking on some of these multi-pronged issues related to security?
Let me make a categorical statement here. I did not employ Hadija as a special advisor. If you look at the letter here itself, with the dates, something is fishy somewhere. And we issue statement that we have nothing to do with that. That was a forged letter. And all my advisors, whenever I appoint advisors, I usually tell the media that I've appointed X, Y, Z in different positions. And I challenge anybody to show me where we made that kind of statement. We are very, very transparent in everything we do. There was never anywhere we mentioned that we appointed Hadija as advisor. But check every other advisor that was appointed in Zamfara State. The news is out there in the media. So that is something political. And we made a categorical statement that we have nothing to do with it, and we stand by it. Now, coming back to the issue of the security still, we are making conscious efforts, and there's a kind of collaboration now between the state government and the Office of the National Security Advisor, as well as Ministry of Defense, in terms of working together to make sure we achieve the kind of a desired objective for the state in terms of insecurity. So, and that is yielding results. And this is all that we have been saying in the past. Look, let there be collaboration between federal government and the state. We live here, we understand the system, we know where the issues is. And I'm happy now that there's that synergy between us and is making positive impact in terms of reducing insecurity in the state. And I hope it will continue so that banditry and other criminality in Zamfara State will be a matter of history.
So, I mean, you quite didn't answer whether or not security has greatly improved in the state. And perhaps there are those who want to know tonight whether or not the political nature or the political dynamics to the insecurity in Zamfara State has been flushed out, or are they still there?
Despite all the challenges we're facing from opposition, let me make also a categorical statement that the security in Zamfara State has improved drastically. People now are going about doing their business. In fact, your crew are here. They can testify the fact that things have improved in Zamfara State in the area of insecurity.
Let me ask you, are you under pressure from the protest that we saw, the August nationwide protest on End Bad Governance? Does it put you under pressure? Because there are those who are asking critical questions about governance in this country. And specifically, the spotlight is now on federating units. More money that is going to the state, more money that is going to the local government area. Are you one of those that are under pressure to perform, to show the people that you are really in for a good deal?
Sharon, I'm not under any pressure right now. All I'm doing is doing the right thing, bringing governance to people. And that is why we're making conscious effort to make sure we take care of security issues. And we're taking it very seriously. In the area of education, where we are at serious disadvantage, we're also making conscious effort to make sure that our students go to school. And from the recent happening in terms of the gifted students, you agree with me that we in Zamfara became number 2 after Anambra State. So, that is to show you that we're making significant progress in the area of education. And so are other sectors. And that is exactly what we're also doing in the area of agriculture by helping the farmers in a little way or whatever ways that we can that will increase productivity in the area of agriculture. The same thing in the health sector. If you go around the state now, we can comfortably say that we have done about 5 hospitals that are upgraded to any standard hospital in the country. So, that is something. Now, about the local government, yes, there may be issues here and there, but we're all in it together. And all we're doing is to make sure we have the best for our people. And we'll continue to do that.
But is there any lesson for you personally as the governor of the state that you have taken out of the End Bad Governance protest, which was like August nationwide protest? Is there any significant lesson?
Well, the lesson for me here is always good for people to express themselves so that leaders will be in check. Now, the experience about the protest, it shows concern. And as responsible government, we look at the issues and try to find out solutions to some of this problem. Because if you don't hear from the people, it means, something is fishy somehow. But it's always good for people to express themselves. And I can also say that in Zamfara, it was very peaceful, especially the first week. There wasn't any issue, and it's okay. We're handling the situation. But people should always speak. Yes, it's allowed. At least that will also put some of us in our right position to remember that we have responsibility as leaders and we're expected to deliver good governance. And I can tell you also in Zamfara, we're very transparent in everything we do. We are concerned about the people, and this will continue.
Governor Dauda Lawal.
Democracy.
Governor Dauda Lawal, thank you so much indeed. And I wish you the very best in the coming days. The people will need all of those wishes and the goodwill, as a lot of Nigerians are hoping for the best from their government. Thanks so much indeed for your time tonight.
Thank you very much, Sharon.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
We go on a break, but when we come back, it does look like there are those who have solutions and answers to the disaster in our oil and gas sector. The Pakistan president will be speaking to us. Can we see the fuel queues disappear, and how fast can that happen? We'll be right back after this break, everyone. Join us again. Thank you so much, everyone. Pakistan today held a summit which would start the future of Nigeria's oil and gas industry, energy mix, energy security, artificial intelligence, divestment, and crude oil theft. The Minister of State for Petroleum, Senator King Lokbobri, was one of those who spoke at that event. I'll allow you to listen to just a snippet of what he said.
Unless we tackle the problem from the root,
whatever efforts we make may not give us the kind of result that we have. So today, I'm here, to say that we're here to partner with Pengasm. We're here to restate our commitment, to supporting, local refining, which is the way to go. We want a situation where we can build capacity for local refining so that we save the dollars that we use to import, PMS and other products into Nigeria. It will also interest you to note that unless you refine, you are getting very little of the value of the crude oil.
All right, you heard it. But one question that a lot of Nigerians will want to ask the minister, why are the queues all over the place? We're focusing our attention on oil theft and crude oil lifting, illegal crude oil lifting in the country. And those who also will argue, is it possible that people take that quantum of oil that belongs to Nigeria out of the country for refining without the government knowing, out of our waters into international waters, and nobody knows? What about the surveillance that NNPC say they have? What about the surveillance that Navy said they have? Recently, we saw that the Navy ship Pathfinder uncovered a massive illegal refining site in Rivers State. It has a capacity of 2 million barrels per day. That's an illegal refining site. Well, let's speak with an expert. Comrade Festus Osifo is the president of Pengasm. Of course, he doubles as the president of the TUC. He's live with us tonight on the program. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you so much, Sheung. Good evening to you and good evening, viewers.
Thank you indeed. I saw the title of your summit today.
Yes.
And I'm intrigued to know how the handshake between artificial intelligence, secure investment, crude oil theft, and all what have you. But before we get into it, you and your colleagues in the oil and gas sector, what exactly is the problem? Because government seems to be sealed about this matter. Nobody is explaining to the Nigerian people why they have to suffer not only to find money to buy the fuel, but they have to queue at the filling station to buy what we're supposed to be enjoying the most as a people, because we have abundance of the crude under the ground.
Yes, Sheung, the real challenge today is because you could see that NNPC came out a few days ago and they talked about the logistics challenges. But from our findings, and because we all know the problem, perennial queues, we addressed our National Executive Council meeting sometime in April, and we said that this queue is going to continue. If it's solved today, you can solve it today temporarily. Tomorrow is going to resurface again. It's actually because of the failures of our pipelines. If the pipelines were working, because today we have about 21 depots in Nigeria cut across the nook and crannies of the country. So if those depots, if they were working, you won't have this kind of logistics challenges. So imagine how many trucks that needs to leave Calabar, leave Lagos and Port Harcourt, and from Calabar you are moving truck to Borno, you are moving truck to Yobe. So it is a problem. So part of what we have seen when we did a study, part of what we have looked at is that those depots that we have, can't we salvage those depots? When we salvage those depots, we'll have a strategic reserve. Today as a country, we have strategic grain reserves. So in terms of energy security, what we have said was that if today, whenever these challenges are solved, whenever these problems are solved, why can't we, when things are okay, when we have the right quantities, we can ship a lot of these to those depots if they are well maintained and if they are functional. So that is part of what we have recommended to government vis-a-vis NNPC a while ago. That because if you have a depot in Zamfara, you have a depot in Yobe, and when you have this crude, you could bring in when you have the PMS, you could bring an excessive quantity then you move the extra to this depot. So whenever you have logistics challenge in Lagos, in Calabar and all that, you could release from this depot. That is what is done all over the world.
Because I remember when there was there was flooding in some parts of the north central state.
Yes.
Kogi especially, which is like the corridor to so many states in the north.
Yeah.
Those 2-3 days that the trucks couldn't pass cost almost 2 weeks of fuel scarcity. So if there is an issue today in Nigeria and lifting cannot pass through our roads to those other states, there will be a disaster. There will be problem.
But if there was problem in Kogi and you have that flooding in Kogi, if you have strategic depot, if the one in Suleja was working, then what you could have done is that you will not use Suleja to feed the north central. If the one in let's say Yobe, if you have one in Yobe and it was working, then from Yobe you can feed the northeast. So we must have strategic reserves for PMS.
Do we have, Governor, sorry, apologies about it. Do we really have, because I know that the government will tell you that apart from condensate, that our crude oil reserve is about 35 billion barrels.
Correct.
But I don't know how much of this reserve that we have of imported refined finished product.
So we don't have. That is the challenge.
That's a disaster.
So today...
So if there is, in fact, we're talking about local logistic problem.
Absolutely.
What if there is an international logistic problem?
It becomes, I mean, from day one, we are down.
We are shut out.
Because where we keep these products, when you import them, so they are moved to tank farms. So where you have tank farms, majorly is Lagos, Port Harcourt, and Calabar, majorly. So when you import this product, you keep it there. From there, you distribute to the nook and crannies of Nigeria. So when there are issues down south, you cannot move this product to the north. But should we have strategic reserves? Then you keep these products there. So whenever, just imagine, we have a reserve that could keep, let's say, about 20 times what we need in a day. 20 days sufficiency or 30 days sufficiency, or at worst or at best we have a reserve that could keep 3 months sufficiency. When you have that, whenever you have any challenge locally or internationally, you could tap into your reserves, and at the end you could be able to service the country. So that is one of the things that we have proposed, so that these logistics challenges will not be happening every day. Shehu, even when we produce locally, let's assume today Dangote Refinery is working, Port Harcourt Refinery, Warri Refinery, they are all working. You don't have refinery in the northeast. So what happens is that if you don't service those depots around that zone, you are going to have challenges. So that is one of the solutions that we have proposed to government. Beyond the challenges we have today, that you have from the mother vessel to the daughter vessel bunkering issues.
Well, I mean, for example, on the coast of Rivers State, there was an identified illegal refining site that has capacity to refine about 2 million barrels per day. What we even get per day in Nigeria is less than 1.5 million recorded. And it brings me to the issue of crude oil theft. But again, just before we go in there, a lot of Nigerians who are watching tonight will be wondering, when will these queues go away? When do you think this could happen? Because you and your colleagues are on the ground in this sector.
Correct.
When do you think we can have this go away?
Shehu, even if the queue goes away in the next 1 week, we cannot guarantee that after another 1 month, it will not return. Because you are always going to have challenges in the logistics.
So Nigeria are in for this hardship?
Absolutely.
Until
we do what is right. Either we fix the pipelines so that from those coastal areas, we could feed the hinterland, number one. Or number two, we have those strategic reserves across the length and breadth of the country. Maybe in the 6 geopolitical zones. It's until we have that, we are in for it. So the problem may be solved in 2 weeks, but I cannot guarantee that in the next 2 or 3 months, the challenges will not resurface again. But Shehu, you talked about 2 million barrels per day. I doubt the report from Navy that report is correct.
About that facility?
Yes, because a 2 million barrels production per day refinery, I doubt if you can have an illegal refinery that is that big. Even a Dangote, you saw how long it took Dangote to build a 650,000 barrel capacity per day refinery. So I seriously doubt that. But beyond that, coming to the issue of crude oil theft, sometime in 2022, you know, we were producing about 700,000 barrels as a country. We went down to 700,000 barrels. So as Pengasan, we took to the rostrum. We were in the streets of Calabar, the street of Kaduna, the street of Abuja. We were in Port Harcourt. We were in Lagos, where we were advocating for what could be done. So we have proposed several solutions to government. But part of what we are trying to look at today in this our summit is how can we use technology to solve this problem? Shehu, we can actually deploy technology to resolve these issues of crude oil theft.
Well, is it that those who are perpetrating it, would they make it happen? Because we were talking about the problem in the petroleum sector.
Yes.
It does look like there are people who are perpetrating the fraud, the disaster, the problems in the sector, who are feeding off it and will not allow us to make progress as a people.
No, this is a national calamity, Shehu, whereby either about 500,000 barrels is shot in or is being stolen on a daily basis. If you calculate that, you extrapolate that for 1 year, you could see how much both the oil producing companies, the international oil companies and the independent producers, as well as government, the money that they lose on a daily basis.
We oscillate between 1.2 million, 1.3 million production per day.
From OPEC, yes.
But I mean, do we have capacity of up to 3 million?
Yes, we can actually do that. That is why during the PIA phase, one of the things we advocated was that government must, because now where we have those challenges of crude oil theft is majorly in the JV. And the JV is situated in the shallow waters and land location, as well as swamp. That is where you have the JV operations. And that is why they carry out, that is the area where they carry out lots of this crude oil theft. If you go to the deep offshore, like Bonga, like Akpo FPSO, like Usan FPSO and Egina, you don't have these kind of challenges. And that was why we have been advocating that government must focus much more on that area, because a lot of the proven reserves today, they are all in the deep offshore, majority of them. So government must focus on that, and we must bring in technology in the JV area to be able to curb this menace of crude oil theft.
And I will have to hold you by your clothes today. Because you made promise to me on this program some times ago that you and your friends in the labor are going to hold the government accountable on the refineries, which the dates upon dates have been shifted. Correct. And they have not started working. But we're going to break. What is happening with the Port Harcourt refinery? You told us that you are going to ensure that government stand by its promise. But the promises have been, the Nigerians have been failed on a daily basis on this date. From 2021, this 2024, correct, failure upon failure. What are we to expect? When will these refineries work? When will our people solve the suffering every day over what is natural for us to be able to do for ourselves? We now make it look like it is some big deal. Well, smaller countries are achieving those. We're going to break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about this crisis. So much, everyone, for staying with us. The Pengasam president, who also doubles as the TUC president, comrade Festus Osifo, has been speaking with us. So the refinery really gets tunes off some of us when those of us who have followed the stories of the 4 refineries that were unable to make work as a people, belonging to the federation, but unfortunately they never work, leaving us to now take our crude out of the country and bring out refined product. A shame of a situation. The Port Harcourt refinery, what exactly is going on? You said you were going to play an oversight role, but up to now, promises have failed.
Yes, it's not our job. The job was contracted out to a contractor. So in Port Harcourt Refinery, we have our local branch in the Port Harcourt Refinery, whom we have mandated, both in Pengassan and Nupeng. We mandated them to give us reports on what is happening in Port Harcourt Refinery at every point in time. So that they have actually been doing. So the process of fixing Port Harcourt Refinery actually belongs to the management and government. So they are the ones that are responsible for making the refinery work. But as unions, what we do every now and then is that we are asking them some tough questions to know where we are today. The last report that we got from the local chapter that we've often referred to as branch in Port Harcourt Refinery was that they were carrying out some certain testing, but at the end of the day, they encountered some problems, and that they are trying to fix. The last time I visited Port Harcourt Refinery was quite a while ago, but we have our local branch there, and that is the report that we got from the local branch, that they have introduced, that they have received some crude. Then that crude they've introduced into the line, and that after introducing it, they encounter some leaks and they encounter some challenges which they are trying to fix. So that was the report that we received. The same way that Nigerians are dismayed, even us, we are quite ashamed that it is, as a country, we export crude and we import PMS. I can tell you that even today that we are talking about the state of Port Harcourt Refinery, and we are even expecting it to work, it is because of the role that both Pengassan and Nupeng played. I will tell you, Shehu, that when they started, over the years, they've told us about turnaround maintenance, but I will shock you, Shehu, that since 2003, 2004, there have not been a single turnaround maintenance in this refinery. What they do is just makeshift operations. The only time where you now have total rehabilitation taking place in this refinery was actually what happened from 2021. Shehu, I will tell you that when they went to borrow money to fix these refineries, then there was a tussle that this money should be kept with the CBN. Oh, we shouted and we said no, that this money that they have borrowed, it's being owned by Nigerians and it should be kept in an escrow account, and that you pay the contractor as per delivery. Instead of you to keep the money in CBN, and we'll start hearing stories, but this money should be kept in an escrow account that you pay per milestones. So we fought for that. We told them that we will not allow what was happening in the past to happen. So that is why today we are even having hope that these refineries will come up very soon.
Because, we understand there was an upgrade of the refinery. Part of the package was that it was going to have maybe 100,000 plus more barrel per day capacity from the 210 that he initially had. But the question is that a lot of Nigerians may not be privy to the deal between the federal government and the private company that is taking the responsibility of fixing it and running it.
Yes. So now, where Nigerians, where we have also pushed as Pengassan and Nupeng, is that, and we started this 20 years ago, Shehu. Our advocacy then was that what government should do, when the refinery comes on stream, government must divest. You become minority shareholder by holding 49% shares. Then you allow the private companies to own 51% shares. That is why NLNG is functioning today. If government had 51% or controlling shares in NLNG, you would have had a lot of interference. But because government has the minority shares, that is why it's working. We also suggested the operation and maintenance strategy, that this should be contracted out, so that you have experts that that will be working in these refineries, and you get them, you remove government interference. That is really the key, because when government interferes in businesses like this, you are going to have lots of challenges. So in terms of today, what we are expecting, is the old Port Harcourt Refinery. Yes, there are some upgrades that is currently being done to the new Port Harcourt Refinery, but we are still expecting the old to start. We are not even talking about the new.
Because the reason why some people might forget. Fixing the refinery was one of the promises government made at the removal and the aftermath of the removal of fuel subsidy.
Yes, correct.
So it's supposed to come with a package.
Correct.
It was one of the 18 lists that you made, and you had an agreement with government. If there is a faltering on the side of government on these, What are the other things that the government is doing? And that's why we are holding you accountable. You said on behalf of the Nigerian people, you will hold the government accountable and make sure there will be an oversight on that. Please, I'm imploring you to do more in putting pressure on government to ensure that the refinery is ready. But on a final note, your friend, Joe Ajero, there seems to be threats coming from the labor that they will go on strike. We're just pleading that don't go on strike, please, because look, what is going in this country, if another strike will not help us. But what do you make of it as a final thought on the program tonight?
Yes, on that, you could see that as of today, there was a response from our lawyer, Femi Falana, saying that government should come clean and government should tell us what are the offenses and what are the, they should open up much more because Nigerians need to know because the way it's being perceived today generally is that you are muscling labor movement. You are trying to cow the labor movement. So that is why that response was apt and that response was key because today Joe Ajero does not represent himself. Anything that he's doing it on behalf of the members of the Nigerian Labour Congress. So for us, we will continuously be advocates to push government to do what is right in all ramifications. Then in terms of the challenge that you have posed on the refinery, I could tell you that we are pushing from all regard. You know, now we are talking about strike. The final thing that we may not need to do is that we are shutting down the oil and gas industry for the refinery to work. So if we do that, you are also part of the people that is going to tell us that, oh no, we are shutting down because even the fuel queues that you have today is going to triple when that happens. I'm
a comrade in that regard. If it's for the good and the better life of the average Nigeria, I'm in for it. But I'm just worried that breaking down production and productive activity in the country will not further, it will further deteriorate things and not help things. But thank you so much indeed.
Thank you so much.
Comrade Festus Osifo, Pengesan President and President of the Trade Union Congress. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
But that's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm sure I'll see you tomorrow, God willing. God bless Nigeria.